Welcome to this episode of North vs. South, where we discuss video games, technology, TVs and movies. In this episode, we discuss the latest GTA 6 leaks.
I am recording now.
Recording now. So I'm not recording you, I'm only recording me. Don't f*** it up.
I have never fucked it up. I've always uploaded. And you've always had an audio track.
I don't think that's true.
Really?
But, I think there's two occasions where
I've fucked up once.
you f***ed up once and you forgot to upload once, and by the time you had uploaded it, I had already edited half the episode with the Zoom recording, and I don't remember if it was the same one, but there was one episode where you managed to edit the audio and half of your recording was half the front half and the back half were swapped, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea about that one.
Yeah, I have no idea either. So what are we here for?
I want to discuss the GTA 6 leak, mainly, because that's quite big. Because we did talk about that like a few months back, and I remember you having a big rant about why is GTA 6 not been announced? Why has it not come out? Now you know more, like because of this person who has managed to gain access to their servers and basically steal code and videos and God knows what.
Yeah, that's a good point. When did this happen, actually? I assumed it happened shortly before the news came out.
If I remember correctly, it came out like on the same day as the Queen's funeral, like a day before the Queen's funeral. That was on a Sunday, and the Queen's funeral was on a Monday. So yeah, it broke out, and everyone's saying, like, I think it did come out on maybe on a Saturday that they got hacked, but then more information come out and everyone's like, oh, that's not the real, this is not real, this is all just fake news. But then they actually came out and said, yeah, we have been hacked, and you know this.
Yeah, because they released their own statement.
Yeah, well, they had to.
It.
They had to, because it was obvious in the end that it's their stuff.
Yeah, I mean, they were actually doing DMCA takedowns before that, because I remember I saw a link on Reddit. I couldn't read it at the time, so I just saved it into my Reddit history, and then by the time I come back, all of the videos had been copyright striked. And obviously you can only copyright strike something you own the copyright to.
Well, there's certain things I want to talk about this. Like, number one, as a developer, I feel the pain of the people who are working on this project to have your stuff leaked on the internet. I bet they're like just so frustrated, because you get people on the internet like, oh, this looks terrible, like what's going on, this doesn't look good at all, like the graphics look terrible, this and that, blah blah blah, and like it's not finished. And it's a very early build that was in like 2019. You can't judge something because it hasn't been released. It's not the final version. And as a developer, you must be thinking like, oh god, like, you know, this is not the final version. It's like, say like you're in a school exam, or you have to do some homework, and the teacher just takes your homework and you haven't finished it. You know, it's like that. You're like, I haven't finished it. It's not ready to be seen by the public. So yeah, they must feel really devastated. It's just like and it's kind of ruined the reveal of the game and stuff. We all know it's coming now, and it's going to have a woman character that you can play, and it's going to be based in Vice City. But yeah, it looks, no, to me it looked good. It looked interesting, but to have it revealed in this way, it's just like, yeah, I'm not really excited now, because it's just been ruined by someone who's just, you can't avoid the news.
It's not been ruined.
I mean the reveal of the game and the excitement you get from, you know, when when GTA 5 they announced it, and then you have a trailer. You studied that trailer like 20 times over to get every, you know, bit of it. But now, because it's been like, there's like hundreds of hours of footage of the game. It's like, what's the point?
Is it hundreds? I didn't realise it was that much.
There's like,
I thought it was like an hour or so.
No, it's got like hundreds of hours of videos. It's got like 100 videos or something crazy like that. Yeah.
Maybe where it said 90 something, it was 90 hours, not 90 minutes.
You can check, but I'm definitely sure there's so many videos they've got, and someone.
Oh, there's 90 videos, not hours or minutes.
Each video is like an hour, though, isn't it? Hour and a half, maybe.
Well, I only saw a video, and I think that might have been. It was one you posted, I think, to the WhatsApp group. So what was that? An hour and a bit?
Yeah.
Or was that like?
That wasn't all.
I think it was over an hour.
That was like just demonstrating.
I'll be honest, I didn't know there was more than that. I think.
Yeah, they got loads. They got everything. Apparently, I'm not keeping up too much of it, but apparently, he has the source code for GTA 5. GTA 5
yeah, allegedly
online and that GTA 6 build. Now that could be an issue, like especially for GTA 5 online, because that's still something that they're selling, and if that gets leaked online, then people can just do what they want with the game and mod it and crack it and put all those hacks online, and it'd just be terrible. But yeah, I don't know what's going on. I think he's the person who's leaked it. I think they found the person, and I think they're trying to sue him.
Well, he's been arrested.
Yeah, he's been arrested.
Apparently, he's a 17-year-old kid.
Oh, really? Jesus. Oh, man.
Yeah, and from what I read earlier, he's actually on parole because he was arrested for violating parole because he had hacked a government somewhere.
The funny thing is, like, I seen comments like, oh, he's gonna get a job from this. It's like, it's not like it was back in the 90s.
He probably will.
Really? You think?
He probably.
Nah.
It's not that he'll get. No, it's not that he'll get a job from this. But like, I could totally see, in 20 years' time, you've got this 30-something-year-old guy going around and doing like doing tours of speeches, because like the Wolf of Wall Street, he goes around and he talks about how he swindled all these penny stocks and everything. There's loads of those sorts of people, and
that's true.
he could probably he could probably swing that, because that might be the only thing he can do. He probably won't be able to do. He won't be able to do white hat hacking, I don't think. He'll be too high profile or something. He'll be too prolific to be like accepted by anyone. Yeah, I don't know. Like it could happen.
Yeah.
And that's the problem, is that the guy who's done it, he's just so young.
Yeah, 17.
And how much of it is he doing? Not on his own volition. Of course, he is responsible for his own actions, but like the likelihood that he was boasting about it online and people were like, "Oh yeah, you can't really do that," and they're like peer pressuring or just pressuring him, like especially if he was on like 4chan or somewhere like that, where they are not gonna stop any pressure no matter what the consequences might be. So he's like not being forced into it, but definitely maybe being pressured into, feeling like he has to prove himself or something like that to this random group somewhere.
Yeah. It's crazy, but yeah, it's just very disappointing. And
so what have you... I mean, don't say what you've seen, but what sort of stuff have you seen? Like the one video I saw, it looked like they were doing physics testing.
Yeah,
it was just lots of walking into the shot, seeing how maybe they were it almost looked like they were testing fabric, like clothes, like jackets or something like that. So like, what have you seen? Have you seen stuff that is like testing of physics, like vehicle testing?
Yeah. So like the police response, how they're driving, how the police are like in their cars trying to take you down, stuff like that.
Oh yes, I did see that video. I think that was in the same video. So do we know how old that footage is? Like
2019.
So 2019. When did they start working on GTA 6, do we think?
Probably much earlier than that. 2016, 15.
Because they released Red Dead in 2018, so they probably would have had skeleton staff starting on it.
Yeah.
The thing, I still feel the same as how I felt when I kind of went on that big old rant about GTA.
Yeah.
I don't know if that...
You know more information now. You got what you wanted.
Well, you know something, like that might be in that episode that we didn't release. That wasn't the episode where you had a stinking cold, was it?
It might have been.
Yeah, so you're referencing something that no one's heard.
Oh, really? Apparently, Josh went on an epic rant about why GTA 6 wasn't released, and
I'd had a bit to drink. I was a little bit drunk.
He was really... I was like, steady on. It was so bad, but
basically, what it comes down to is I was basically just bored and tired of waiting. Not just that they don't need time to release the game. It was more the fact that they are so clearly forgetting about GTA and putting all of their efforts into GTA Online. And I'm not saying anything new here, but I am someone who thoroughly enjoyed. So the first one I played was Vice City. Loved the snot out of that game. Played San Andreas. Great game. GTA 4. Absolutely loved that game. Probably the game I played the most until GTA 5 came out. And even GTA Online. I really loved that game. If you want to call it something different than something. If you want to say GTA Online is different to GTA 5. I did enjoy that game as well, but there were things that happened, changes that they made to the game as they introduced it, and you could then see that they were changing the way that they treated the platform. That just made it less fun. Like you couldn't just jump on and play for fun anymore. It was so much pressure to do these new things, and all these new things were sort of out of the reach of someone who is just playing for fun. You had to pay real life money to get some of these things, and also the other thing is I know it's a multiplayer platform, but I liked the character that I had, and some of the mechanics that you had were better than the single player version of the game, like the mechanic and the safe houses and all of that. But I had no interest in all of the multiplayer missions where you had to play with other people in real life. Like, I would have been quite happy on the quote-unquote multiplayer system doing all of the missions single player, but you couldn't really do that. I think there were some missions where they would give bot players to kind of bump the numbers up, but not always. So that's basically just where I was. It's like, and I still kind of feel, it's not that I don't have sympathy for Rockstar, but I'm just like, if you had released GTA 6 by now, people wouldn't be clamoring for this. There wouldn't have been... I'm not justifying it, but there wouldn't be this hunger for a game that, by all accounts, should already have been released. I know that they're saying they're busy. You know, they've released GTA 5, then they're doing GTA Online, then they're doing Red Dead 2, and then they're working on GTA 6. And I'm sorry, but they're making enough money to hire enough developers to work on both teams. You know, you can have one set of developers doing GTA Online and another set of developers working on Red Dead 2, and then when Red Dead's done, then some of them can move on to GTA 6. It's kind of... And again, I said the exact same argument for Apple. Apple do the exact same thing. They have a small set of employees and they work on one thing at a time, when they have more than enough money to hire 3 times as many employees and make three times as many things improve in the same amount of time. And there's absolutely no excuse for not doing that other than them trying to, make money and profits and not spend money on employees and and other expenditure. And it's just like, yeah, it's not that I do or don't agree or condone or anything like that, but they kind of, not that they would have foreseen it or anything like that. Obviously they couldn't. It was just some guy who did something and at some point took some old code or did it in 2019 and has released it finally. I don't really know the full details, but it is hard to feel too much sympathy for a company that I'm no longer feeling goodwill towards. Like when people are always going online about, don't pre-order online, and I'm like, well, I pre-ordered GTA 5 on the Xbox 360 before it was actually, before the 2013 release, and that worked out fine. I received the game either day of or day before the release, and there was no problems. There was no issue with Rockstar in that sense. They were quote unquote a good company at that time. But now I'm just indifferent, and I'm not sure that I will pay. Maybe I'll, once they've done the hype train for a couple of years, maybe I'll feel differently. I just don't know at the moment if I'm going to be someone who's going to pay full price for GTA 6 at the moment. I might be someone who waits for it to be on sale or something like that. It's just hard at the moment because I'm kind of just disappointed in Rockstar. It's kind of, yeah.
Wow, so it hasn't really affected... So what you're trying to say, it hasn't really affected what you when you're going to buy the game. When it eventually comes out, you're still going to wait a few months or wait maybe a year for it to go on sale.
I don't feel excited for the game like I did 5 years ago or like I did between GTA 4 and GTA 5. I have grown...
But it's in Vice City now.
I've grown... Yeah, and I absolutely love Vice City. I've just grown stagnant in their inaction to release anything. If they had released DLC for GTA 5, that would have probably been fine. And I know they can say, oh, we did the heist DLC, we did the this, that, and the other DLC. It's like, yes, but that's all online, and I can't play that and enjoy that at my own thing. I have to go on to these stupid online things where there's always hackers and there's modders and there's all this pressure to do this, that, and the other, and I just want to play GTA 5, and I can't do that. Like, I joined the other day. I've actually been playing GTA online. I played it quite a lot in the last couple of weeks, actually, and yeah, it's still rife with people modding and cheating and all that kind of stuff. So it's like, what's the fun in spending ages joining an online session only to have to immediately leave it and find a new lobby?
Well, there you go. Yeah, so you're saying they're not even keeping up with the in terms of like patches, updates, and stuff to mitigate people from.
Well, I don't know about that. I'm just saying they've not released single-player DLC. Like GTA 4 had 2 DLC. San Andreas didn't have DLC, actually, but Liberty Cities and Vice City both had stories, which are sort of DLC before DLC was a thing, and that was part of Rockstar's thing. Red Dead had Undead Nightmare, and now you look at Red Dead 2, and it's like, oh, well, they've given up with that game. GTA 5, oh, they've given up with that game. Guess I'll give up with it too. That's kind of how I feel. I just feel a little bit dejected about this game company. That I know they're one of the big game companies, but I thought they were better than Ubisoft. I thought they were better than EA, but it turns out they're just as shit.
Yeah, well...
But you're not wrong, for the individual developers inside who have been working on it tirelessly, like, yeah, you've got to feel some sympathy for them. I know Apple have the same problem where people are relentlessly trying to leak hardware or software features, and rarely an event goes by where there hasn't been a major leak, and sometimes it's within the last few hours before the event because someone really desperately wants to be the first person to announce the product updates, and that takes the wind out of the Apple developers and executives have said the leaks take the wind out of their sail as they're trying to announce these new things that they're trying to announce, and that's different for that human being than it is for Apple, the company. So you can kind of feel one way for the humans in the company than you can for the company itself, and the board of directors and the bean counters and everyone who's making all these annoying decisions. That the people who are writing the stories and the developers who are building the game probably wanted to have GTA 6 out ages ago, but for whatever reasons, money, resource, or whatever, they just weren't able to do so, or they were stuck doing GTA Online and not allowed to start GTA 6 till whenever. But
yeah, well, who knows? Who knows? It could be like because I remember, wasn't there an article about they started development and then they had to start from scratch? I'm not sure. You don't know what's going on behind the scenes. Like, it could be that. Yeah, but like it. Like you said,
no. What's happened is you're not wrong. There was 2 people left. One of the Hauser brothers left, and Laszlo, who, although you might only think of him as a sort of like mini major character from GTA 5, but he's actually been in every single GTA game, I think, since GTA 3 as a radio host. But he doesn't just do the radio hosting. He's not just a voice actor. He actually, since about Vice City or San Andreas, he has been in charge of 2 major parts of the game, which is all of the radio stations. So he actually writes or co-writes or leads the team that writes all of the stories in all of the radios. And particularly in GTA 5, he would have been working with the celebrities who came in and did the radio DJs. And I don't know if he'd have picked out the music. That probably might have been someone else's job. But he was certainly doing like the talk show and all the radio ad-lib bits in between. He also, I think from GTA 4 and GTA 5, he did a lot of story writing for the I think the pedestrians, and sort of making sure that there was a lot of dialogue around the pedestrians in the game. And that's 2 people of huge creative influence on the game who have left. And I think when one or both of them left, I don't know what the timing was, but they did have a storyline. But then I think probably when Sam or Dan Hauser left, that's when they kind of turned it around and changed the story. Probably because it was half written and they didn't want to change the story half written and have a different writer for it or something. But because it might feel half baked, or there's a feeling in one half and not there in the other half or something. So they're kind of going for one lead writer for the entire game, and I kind of get that. But yeah, it's just been frustrating on the outside, just seeing them do basically nothing. The external look hasn't been good, even if there's been a lot going on internally.
How do you feel about being able to play as a woman in the game, a female character that you can play?
How do I feel? I feel nothing. And I don't mean that. We were supposed to have a female a female lead character in GTA 5. That's what I thought, but we never did. How do I feel about playing as a female character? I feel nothing really, in the sense that no one should feel anything. If you're a feminist, you might feel happy, but I feel like feeling happy, celebrating a company being decent, you shouldn't have to do that. Like, yes, it's good. Obviously, it's good that they're actually in probably one of the largest video games, very influential video game. Yes, it is great that they are having a female lead. But there's so many other games that do have a female lead. I know there are so many people who are just going to be absolutely furious that there's going to be one or more. Cause, like if they're going to do character switching, they probably there might be a male. Yeah, like I say, there's probably going to be a male and a female that you're going to play as.
Yeah.
And there's probably some people going to be absolutely fuming that they're going to have to play as a woman. And yeah, that's sad, and it's a shame that there are people out there. I feel like in the current world, we have to applaud them for having a female lead. In a good and fair world, it should be a non-issue. It should not even be a story. There are so many great games. I've spoken about it multiple times. The Horizon series of games, Zero Dawn and Forbidden West, they are both, obviously, you can only play as one single character, and she is a female lead. And particularly Forbidden West has come out as a very pride-friendly game. It's and disability accessible, I think. Accessible game, no matter who you are. Whether you are straight, homosexual, trans, questioning, if you are disabled in some manner, and then other diseases. Like, the game is very inclusive, both what it shows in the game, how it how those things come into it. It's not in your face, but at the same time you can't miss it. And that's a fine line to try and straddle. It's like you can do the token black guy, the token gay guy, and sometimes that can feel forced. But in Forbidden West, it doesn't feel forced. But you're not going to miss that there is there's two men there who are in a relationship. They've even got a cross-dressing guy. And it's like they're there and they're present, but they don't always make that. Well, they don't make that the character's main thing. There's major characters who've got disabilities, and apart from where it's necessary, that disability isn't their whole personality, and that's doing it well, I think. And whether we see more of that in GTA, I think we need to see that, because it is basically one of the largest games. It's influential on. It might be an 18-plus game, but it is influential on teenagers. So having it in the material that they're consuming is important. Have that kind of acceptance available to them, early on in their life. I know that is happening more and more in TV, and even in, like, I work in a school, and our children are, how old are they? I think they're 8 or 9 years old to 13 years old. And we've had a couple of gender transition people. I think we've had 3. And I'm sure there's been gay and queer and others that don't come to the attention of the staff, because that's not the sort of thing that staff need to be aware of. But, it is happening. It's becoming more normalised for the younger generation. So it's probably good that this game has those things inside of it.
Yeah, it's quite interesting, because GTA, you've always got these characters, and they've always had their personalities fit the characterization, if you know what I mean. So you got Michael was the mafia guy, and the way he speaks and shouts and screams, and then you got what was the black guy's name?
Franklin.
Frank. Yeah, sorry. So then he's proper street smart in terms of talking, and when he talks to people, It's straight to the point. So it'd be quite interesting how they deal with what kind of friends the woman, the female character have, and how she talks and.
I mean, when GTA 5 came out, I think people were talking about this back then, and one of the concerns that some women had was that they were thankful that there was no female lead, because what they didn't want was a female person to be like Trevor, and Trevor was a complete psychopath, and they didn't want people to see a female lead character be crazy and off the wall, because that would then allow you to be dismissive and be like, oh, she's just a bit of a tomboy and she's not really a woman, she's more of a man, that kind of thing. And I can understand that. That's not really helpful either.
But the way Trevor looks in that game, you're not going to think, like, you might think he's going to be a bit wacky. You're always going to have like that suspicion about him, like, oh, there's something off about that guy, because the way he dresses, the way his demeanor, and the way he walks, the way he physically talks to people. So yeah, it kind of depends. Like, all I want is a character that actually fits what the person looks like and the way they act in terms of talking to people. Like, I don't, like you said, if it's gonna be over the top and you're like, this is just, and it just looks like a normal person and a normal person acts, then yeah, it's gonna look stupid. So yeah, I'm kind of still looking forward to the game. Should be coming out in a few years, but I'm not like you. I'm not that excited.
There's no point being excited. It's a few years off. It's like we're looking like 3 years, and then by that point, GTA 5 will almost be old enough to play it.
What do you mean? GTA 5 will be old enough to play it?
Well, if it's rated 18, and then GTA 5 is 15 years old, it'll be almost old enough to play it.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, well, I think it will be a smash hit, and I don't think this leak has really affected anything. It's basically just I think it's going to help the developers, and it's going to help Rockstar, because a lot of people, like you said, like you was like, where is GTA 6? Why have we not seen anything about GTA 6? Where is this game? And because of this leak now, everyone knows it's coming, so everyone's kind of more relaxed, and it's like, okay, it's coming, and it needs more work. Okay, that's cool. At least we know it's coming. That's what they should have probably done. They should have probably done this like 2 years ago. Just had like a small little teaser.
I mean, the Elder Scrolls, they kind of did.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. Like they had like a small little teaser for that.
Yeah, it's just a couple of little minutes.
Yeah, I think Fable had a little teaser, and that was like years ago. And we haven't heard anything new from that game. But you know that potentially it could be coming. Like, the thing is, with some games, like some game companies, when they announce something, it's then very disappointing when they cancelled it. You know, and you're like, oh, we thought this was coming. But with a GTA game, if they announced the new GTA 6, you know that game's going to get released. They're not going to cancel GTA 6.
Honestly, I wasn't sure they were going to release another game at this point. I just thought they were going to bleed GTA Online until it was completely
Well, that's what I'm saying.
dry,
Like, if they did announce it like 2 years ago, there's no way they were going to cancel it. But you look at, there's some game companies where they've announced stuff and it's been in years in development, and then eventually they just cancel it quietly. But with Rockstar, you know you're not going to get that because it's their big franchise game. Like I said, I think it's a good thing now that everyone knows it does exist and they get an idea what the game is going to be. So it's kind of good PR in a way for them.
Yeah, the thing is, they're just going to have to change their marketing now. So like you were saying about how we had the GTA 5 reveal, they may have already started to work on their marketing story, but now they're just going to have to adjust it slightly to... They can't pretend we don't know some of the information. So unless they... Because the other thing is, right, what we saw may have... Yeah, because here's a thought I was having the other day. It's like, the particular assets that we were looking at, particularly in 2019, may have practically zero bearing on the characters that will actually eventually come out. That could be planned. So, like, they were always going to use fake character models to keep the real character models hidden in case of a leak, if that makes sense. So they've got this character called Ben, and they've got this character called Sarah, and what they want, what they're going to do is, these are the characters for development. These are not the real names of the real characters. These are not the real textures of their skin. They might not even be the same race. It's just something that, if it gets leaked, all they're going to get is us testing clothing and police and all that kind of stuff. And it's not the actual playable characters. It's just an indication that we can use for internal testing. So it might be that was already...
I don't know.
No, but on the flip side, they might choose to change aspects because of the leak. So they might slightly change, if they've not done the voice parts, or if they're not, it all depends where they are. They might make some minor changes or some slightly major changes. So it's not exactly how we've already seen it currently. So they've got a marketing story that they can tell in the 2 years leading up to the video game coming out.
But what they normally do is the characters that are in the game actually look like the actual actors in real life.
Have they picked the actors yet? That's what I'm saying.
Well, they might, because one of like in GTA 5 when you get like a loading screen, and then you get the actors pictures on the loading screen. So that got leaked. So if that's on there, and it's them in the game as well, it's got to be. They're not like you said, like they're not assets that are used for testing. That this is the actual assets.
Well, they still could be, because on GTA 5 there's only 3 characters, and there's more than 3 characters on the loading screen. So the loading screens that have been released might be the non-player character loading screens, and they just haven't done. I'm just saying the possibility is there that the characters that you've seen might not look like the characters that we see in the game. Maybe they will, and that would suck for Rockstar if that is the final look for those characters. But it's like, I'm not saying it was something that I was thinking about when I saw it, and I was like, with hindsight, and now with the knowledge before I go and make my big game that's going to compete with GTA 6, I know that if I was going to go into this development now, that I would use assets that don't look like main playable characters until the last minute. And any, it's like if I'm making the 3D assets for, my Michael, my Franklin, and my Trevor, they would only be seen by the most need-to-know people. So not your low-level developers, not your game testers, but only, the VPs and the lead designers. And that code just would not be available to people who might be able to leak it on purpose or accidentally until much, much, much later in the game cycle.
I did notice the other day, I was looking at jobs, and I did notice that they were hiring testers, remote worker testers. So I was like, oh, that's interesting.
But then the things that they're hiring you to test, like they can say, oh, I need you to test not GTA 6, but we need you to test specifically this one feature that is in our engine. Here is a game that runs in the Rage engine, and the missions that you're going to do in it are specific to, say, parkour for climbing, or flying a plane with the PlayStation trigger controls. That they could take the feature out of context of GTA 6 to allow you to test the features without spoiling the story. Which is good for the game tester as well, because it means they get to enjoy the game when it comes out or later on without having had it spoiled for themselves.
But I think that pretty much wraps up. I think it's going to be a good game when it eventually comes out, and it's unfortunate it's been leaked a little bit, but that's life. I'm sure they can pick themselves up.
Thank you for listening to this episode of North vs South. Please like and subscribe and comment on YouTube, or follow us in your favourite podcasting app. Goodbye.